Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to yet another episode of CxO Rendezvous on CxO Global TV. Today, our esteemed guest is Mr. Adnan Ahmed. He's the founder and CEO of Digitally Techy, and currently he's also heading IT for the Ibrahim Group of Companies. Welcome, Adnan. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you, Shudad. I'm fine.
Thank you for taking out time. We understand that you being a future entrepreneur and currently being associated with such a big group are pressed for time. Thank you very much. You've always been very kind in taking out time for events and shows and discussions for CXO Global. You're a very valuable and I think one of the oldest members of the forum has seen us grown over the years. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you on the forum as well as on the show.
Same here.
Uh, Before we get into what you do and your profile and what's on your LinkedIn and everything, I would like to know about Adnan Ahmed. Who is Adnan Ahmed?
Thank you, Shazad. Let's start. My name is Adnan Ahmed, and I'm the word of technology since last 22 years. After my graduation, I have joined Pakistan Navy Engineering College as an instructor and a system administrator, from where I started my journey. Then I'll join Karachi Porters, the government identity, and then I'll join the multinational that's called EMAR Pakistan. So my journey starts from my education, and before taking my degree, I'll be on job in Pakistan Navy. So being a technology person and being a education side, so I've started with the teaching side and instruction sides, and then the journey started with Karachi Porters. Then Imar Pakistan is the multinational group where I've served in so many countries, and enjoyed as the role of a manager IT for Imar Pakistan. Then I'll join the Ibrahim Group of Companies, and since last 12 years, a long journey, I am working with them. So it's about more than 22 years, and now soon I'm going to start my own venture that's called Digitally Techy. So during this complete tenure, I have served government organizations, multinationals, private organizations. So life is good, and the technology side I've learned and improved myself a lot. So now it's a time in the life, so I need the change. So I'm moving towards entrepreneurship and going to start my own journey.
Great. We will discuss your journey and your entrepreneurial venture, inshallah. You mentioned in 22 years, starting from Pakistan Navy to FMCG to Ibrahim Group of Companies, and there's a lot of diversity in your
Yeah,
portfolio.
yeah.
And keeping that in mind, and you also mentioned that you're looking for a change. How do you perceive the nexus between business, technology, and change management?
It's a very good question. Shazad, if you honestly, I'm saying you that the change management, the most difficult part for any company. And as you know, the technology grows a lot. So change management in actually is the systematic approach which deals with the transaction and transformation of the organizational objective. So if we talk about change management, we have to do a few things. That's called principles of that. So that is called the to understand the change. We have to plan the change, we have to implement the change, and we have to communicate the change.
So
So
plan the
for
change, implement the change, and communicate the change.
yeah, and initially it's understand the change. So
Yes,
that's the change
that
management.
is the most difficult part.
Most difficult part. So people don't think that why they need the change. So
True.
currently the main issue which we are facing in any industry is the change management. Technology is growing a lot, but people are still stuck with their old things. So we have to understand the change management, and initially we have to need to change. Why we need to change? We have to understand. We should understand the negative results of not making the change. People
True.
should feel the confident that the change should benefit them also for the company. So when we understand the theme of the change, then we have to plan, because and everything requires a plan. Most of the companies, are totally going in the disaster if they don't change. They have to work with their status quo. So the change needs to be planned. So some company have a very defined plan, some don't have any plans to change. So they need support from the management side to be plan a perfect for their company to have the proper change. So when we move do the planning, then we'll move towards the implementation. So for the implementation, to be mindful of the people's feeling while putting your plan into operations. Most of the time the management or the team just enforce their plan and their change, and it would going to be a disaster for their company. We should ensure that everyone involved in the change. So we should
Yes.
understand what needs to be happen and what it means for them. So we take all the people with us to make this change happen, map and identify all the key stakeholders that will be involved in the change, and also change the people's habit so they have to use to become the new change. And last but not least, the communication. So communication is the main tool which a management or a company or an employee should have to communicate properly. So clear, appropriate, so people understand what you want them to do. Most of the time the technology implementation gets to be disaster because people don't understand what they are going to do. People feel fear that maybe their job is going to be wrong. We need to have give them awareness that what would be the change, and somehow we have to exploit the knowledge and make them ability to change reinforcements to sustain the change in the long sessions, ease the pressure and create a simple process. So many people worry that their technology advances it will take over their workplaces. So these are the few things which are required. So it's a nexus, but somehow change management is the key thing which we have to adopt for the technology to be implemented in any business.
You mentioned the status quo and people's comfort zone, and breaking that status quo. And in change, I think the most important change is a cultural change when we talk about digital
Exactly.
transformation. What is your key take on cultural change? How do you make that happen? Old school versus digitalization. COVID has helped a lot in that cultural change. One of the positive sides of the pandemic has been that cultural change.
Yeah.
But other than that, how would you advise organizations to instill that cultural change?
Every business is now a choice, either innovation or extinction. So digital transformation is redefining your entire business strategy. Technologies involving a data is considered to be as an asset. So now we don't believe that data is nothing. Data is now the everything for any company. So companies should work on their status quo to make the things happens, because now data is an asset. And if you we talk in a similar way, in a simplified way, that obtain the data, then protect the data, then analyze the data, and then utilize the data. So
So
this is
obtain
the
the
key.
data. No, this is interesting. This is good knowledge for our viewers. Could you repeat that? Obtain the
That's
data.
analyze the data, protect the data, and then utilize the data.
So सब आपने डाल दिया ना, साइबर सिक्योरिटी भी बीच में डाल दी, डेटा प्रोक्योरमेंट भी डाल दिया,
Yeah.
एनालिसिस भी डाल दिया. Very nice, very beautifully put.
So thing is that the people don't think about their future prospects. If we don't take the name of the companies, but some photographic companies who are doing that. Lastly, we have a cameras, that we have a film on that. So that those companies wouldn't grow. They don't change. If you talk about, we have a recent examples like Nokia. So if you don't go for a cultural change, if you go with the flood, you don't even consider to be alive. So in this cultural change, we definitely require the digitalization, so that the company should move towards the technology change, work with the digital world.
Is it digital adoption or adaptation? What do you think it
So
is?
it's adaptation, because adopting a thing is something like we have to adopt so many things, but adaptation is the change. So we need to change ourselves as the part the country, the world is moving towards. If we don't come out from our status quo, we don't change our business statics, we don't change our thinking to live or to live someone else life, it would be better to have the current and work with the flood, with all the retail companies. The same which we are working, the technology guys are working, so many companies working in the Pakistan, just like Pasha, CxO, so many people are doing their job to make this happens in the Pakistan. As you know, Pakistan economy is growing in the form of software export is concerned. So people now understanding, but from the industry side, we need some good leadership brains. They need to change the culture of the company.
AI, big data, machine learning, all of these are buzzwords, or are they actually in implementation in the Pakistan digital ecosystem?
Well, if we talk about the digital ecosystem, so first we have to define what is the digital ecosystem. So that is the first we think that is called devices. So devices, then you have a network, so that the devices could be connected. Then their contents, the contents which they have to use, and the application, so that application which have to revive the contents accordingly. So we have a four things: device, network, content, and application. So within this ecosystem we have to develop ourselves. This is not a, you call it the blockchain, the other items, that is not a name. It's are the technology companies are moving towards them. If we lose that, we would not survive. If you talk about, that's a new technology that is called
Do you think
open
companies
AI.
are now understanding that if we lose that, we will not survive?
Yeah,
Why?
now somehow people are moving towards that, but still we are struggling to raise our voice in front of the different industry, especially, if you talk about the pharma industry. Pharma have some requisites, just like banks that have some back-end multinational supports. They have some limits to be followed, they have some SOPs. But if we talk about the local industry, including the textile, the manufacturing side, where these things should be implemented, being implemented by their management. If their management are visionary, they know how to survive, they are working with the digital technologies, then they would be survive. Otherwise, we have so many examples that so many people are invest a lot in different technology factors, but they fail because they try to enforce their things to their employees, to their people, and end of the day they don't get the desired results. So that's why it's there that it is not a buzz name that blockchain. There's so many applications are there. Highly valuable games are still working on a blockchain. Data AI also is there. So I was discussing about the open AI. The open AI technology is coming, in which you have to just think about the software and don't need to write a code. So it's a brain. So brain is there. When we are trying to making the brains, it means there would be a chance that we don't need the humans to be learn or search or think about that. So AI would be somewhere else. We have going to be a 5G and 6G. So facial detection system, a car system, auto systems. So things are moving towards the technology side, but still we are struggling. But sooner or later we will be on the same pace, inshallah.
So you feel that in future every business will need some form of a technology integration.
Yes,
Have
definitely.
organizations realized that the tool for getting more customers or getting more sales or getting more growth eventually, or getting a higher profitability for profit organizations, technology is the only answer? Do you
Yeah,
see that
definitely.
change in across industries?
Yes, definitely. Businesses that are making the most of advance in tech are also in a good place to make the most in terms of ROIs. So people are who are looking towards the industrial IoT, the robots, cobots, things which are there. The things. Another technology is software 2.0. So it would see the creation of the software applications for most powerful and capable than anything available could today. However, it will also make it possible for the existing software and coding processes to be standardized and automated. So things are moving towards the technology side. If we don't move, we will fail. The technology in the form of security, that is the zero trust security. So every machine which is placed on the land, they have their VPN connections to be connected. We have to control the ransomware attacks. Bio revolution is there. AI means smart cards, the facial detections, RPA is there. So we have AI driven cars in future. So everything would be dependent on the technology side. So those companies who don't even try to do this, they would be fail. We are currently working, so many companies are working towards the ERP. So ERP implementation is there, but that you call it a software based implementation. You have something there to be connected through cyber security. You have some high end firewalls should be there. So people are moving towards the cloud. So in future the clouds would be there, the traditional data center concept would be eliminated. So today, in by the end of 2021, if we work towards after a 6 months technology, so many jobs would be left, jobs would be converted into technology side, DevOps,
ये भी तो
full
एक
stack
फियर है ना कि
developer.
नौकरियां चली जाएंगी और लोग कम हो जाएंगे, टेक्नोलॉजी रिप्लेस कर देगी. व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से अबाउट दैट, व्हिच
Yeah,
इज वन
that
ऑफ द मेन फियर्स ऑफ पीपल?
definitely, but that is the thing which we covered in change management. So we have to educate the people. प्रॉब्लम इज दैट कि जो हमारी कैटेगरी, जो हमारी ऑफिस स्टाफ इस वक्त काम कर रहे हैं, दे आर डूइंग द 9 to 5 जॉब. सो पीपल आर डोंट रियलाइजिंग, दे थिंकिंग वी आर डूइंग जॉब एंड वी आर डूइंग थिंग कंटिन्यूसली. मतलब हम 2 साल 5 साल 10 साल तक ये करते रहेंगे, बट इन फ्यूचर द कोविड चेंज द लाइफ स्ट्रक्चर. नाउ वी आर वर्किंग ऑनलाइन.
या,
दोज आप उस तरह अंदाजा लगा लेंगे, स्कूल द टीचर्स, दे डोंट इवन नो व्हाट वाज द जूम, गूगल, बट कोविड ने सिखाया,
लर्निंग
टेक्नोलॉजी.
मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम्स, एलएमएस, गूगल क्लासरूम्स, और
या
एजुकेशन सेक्टर हैज इवॉल्व्ड अ लॉट ड्यूरिंग
अल्लाह
कोविड.
टुवर्ड्स टेक्नोलॉजी. तो अब देखेंगे, अगर फ्यूचर आप देखें एज एग्जाम्पल और एज अ थिंग, कि क्या इज इट पॉसिबल इन फ्यूचर में जाकर और स्कूल्स का कॉन्सेप्ट जो फिजिकल है वो खत्म हो जाए? it may be possible. We should be on online. We should do everything through online. आप ये देखेंगे तमाम द क्लासेस, अगर आप यूएस को कनाडा साइड पे स्टडी करें, दे लव टू लर्न द कोडिंग. दे आर टीचिंग देयर चिल्ड्रन अ कोडिंग, अ सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्रामर इन फ्यूचर. As far as our technology is concerned, I am a typical infrastructure side guy, but the things are moving. Cisco is going to launch a software based switches. We in future we have just chassis, and we have to install the software and make it L2 L3 switches. So things are moving towards technology which is different. So अगर लोग अपने आप को सिस्टम के साथ चेंज नहीं करेंगे, तो दैट एक टाइम ज़रूर ऐसा आएगा कि उनकी जॉब्स चली जाएंगी. फियर इज़ देयर. और कोविड ने कम से कम एक चीज़ और सिखाई लोगों को, कि लोगों की जॉब्स चली गई, देन दे रियलाइज कि दे शुड हैव देयर ओन बिजनेस. सो अगर आप थीम देखें, अगर आप थीम कंपेयर करें, अमेजॉन, द एनेबलर्स आर डूइंग देयर ग्रेट जॉब. तो अगर उसका पॉजिटिव अप्रोच देखें, तो द गाय वाज 12 years old, यू विल सी द वीडियोज ऑन यूट्यूब के, 12 साल का लड़का है, 2 लाख रुपए कमा रहा, 3 लाख रुपए कमा रहा. तो लास्ट आई विजिटेड वन ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी of Karachi, as I'm the part of their course membership. So they were saying कि जी स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो तो आके हमें सेमेस्टर में ये कह रहे हैं कि सर हम 4 महीने का सेमेस्टर भी अटेंड करें और थीसिस भी जमा कराएं, चीज़ें भी जमा कराएं, असाइनमेंट भी जमा कराएं. वो पेशेंस कहाँ से लाएं? यहाँ तो लोग चंद अमेजोन पे जाकर वो चीज़ों में 2-3 लाख रुपए कमा रहे हैं. तो वी डोंट इवन नो कि आफ्टर 4 years क्या हमें जॉब मिलेगी भी कि नहीं मिलेगी. सो देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स, सो मेनी इशूज. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट एजुकेशन साइड, उनको ये नहीं पता कि जो बच्चा 4 साल बाद आएगा मुल्क में, क्या वो इतना काबिल होगा? जब वो निकलेगा एजुकेशन करके, तो क्या उस वक्त वो टेक्नोलॉजीज एग्जिस्ट करेंगी जो आज हम
एग्जैक्ट.
उन्हें पढ़ा रहे हैं? क्या वो उस वक्त उनके काम आएंगी? सो अगर आप ओवरऑल इस वक्त करंट सिनेरियो देखें, तो देर इज ओनली अ सॉफ्टवेयर साइड विच इज बूमिंग. रेस्ट, इलेक्ट्रिकल, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, मैकेनिकल, they are all students are struggling. So
नो,
we have to change ourselves.
no, I have been associated with education sector also during my journey, and I've seen everywhere in Karachi, in Islamabad, in Punjab, across cities. हम आज जो टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ा रहे हैं वो भी 5-10 साल पुरानी है. तो 4 साल
Yes,
बाद
definitely.
जब वो बच्चा निकलेगा एट एनी लेवल फ्रॉम स्कूल या यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेज, तो वो टेक्नोलॉजी 4 साल आगे की होनी चाहिए, ना कि 4 साल पीछे की, बिकॉज देन वो रेलेवेंस खत्म हो जाती है. एंड वेरी गुड
Yes.
एग्जांपल यू गेव कि जी वो तो 4 महीने का डिप्लोमा करके वो अमेजोन पे पैसे भी कमा रहे हैं, प्लस वो स्किल्स भी ले रहे हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी वेबसाइट्स वेयर यू कैन डू शॉर्ट कोर्सेज ऑन पाइथन, ब्लॉकचेन, डिजाइन थिंकिंग. वो करके यू बिकम अ फ्रीलांसर, यू एंड अप मेकिंग मोर मनी आउट ऑफ दैट rather than doing a 4 year degree. But obviously degree and everything has its importance, and education
Yeah.
system, the formal education system has still has a lot of relevance if it has technical adoption. आपने 9 to 5 जॉब की बात की, आपने जॉबियंस के जॉब्स लूज होने की बात की. अब हम थोड़ी सी आपकी एडवेंचर के ऊपर बात करेंगे. यू हैव माशाल्लाह ग्रेट ऑर्गेनाइज्ड स्ट्रक्चर्ड थिंकिंग, आई मस्ट से, out of this interaction, and out of that structured thinking, from a set job, from a comfort zone, you're venturing into an entrepreneurial venture where you're moving into digitally tacky. We'd like to know about your venture now.
थैंक यू. एक्चुअली बहुत काफ़ी टाइम आफ्टर 22 years इंडस्ट्री में और डिफरेंट लोगों के साथ काम करने के बाद, इट्स टाइम टू मूव टूवर्ड्स आवर ओन वेंचर. एंड द डिजिटली टैकी It's a, it's a digital and the technology, the combination of that, make its name for the future prospect. And as I told you that world is moving towards the technology, and especially from the software side. Soft skills are more currently are the more important in the industry. So what we think, इसमें आने का मकसद भी ये था कि the vision of our prime minister is a digital Pakistan. So we in future, Pakistan needs economy. So the way the teams are working, we are exporting the software, we should still, हम स्ट्रगलिंग कर रहे हैं, हम उस लेवल तक नहीं पहुंच सके जो हमारे नेबर्स जहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं. So
True.
the thing was then to serve the Pakistan. जो कंपनी बनाने का मकसद सिर्फ ये भी है कि जो हमारे लड़के, इसके अंदर एक थीम मैं आपके साथ और शेयर करूं कि वी आर इन कमिंग ईयर वी आर अप्रोचिंग द यूनिवर्सिटीज. सो दिस इज एन आइडिया, वी आर अप्रोचिंग द डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज. आई एम ऑल्सो वर्किंग विद, आई एम द गेस्ट स्पीकर ऑफ सो मेनी यूनिवर्सिटीज. सो द थीम इज दैट वी हैव टू पुट अ प्लान देयर कि आप अपने बच्चों को फ्रॉम 6 सेमेस्टर से किसी ऐसी कंपनी के साथ, किसी ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनर के साथ लाइजन करें, एंड आप वो कुछ ऐसे
Internships
कोर्सेज
and
कराएं.
all of that.
Yeah, you have to give them a real time experience of the industry. The student would have the job in their hand when they come out from the university. So from the 6 semesters in 8 towards in 1.5 साल के अंदर अंदर उन्हें वो टेक्नोलॉजीज हम पढ़ाएं, हम सिखाएं. दैट इज वुड बी देयर अनदर सब्जेक्ट्स. हम उनकी स्किल डेवलपमेंट करें, उनकी कम्युनिकेशन डेवलप करें, बिकॉज what we
Very
Pakistan in
important.
Pakistan we think the communication skill means to talk to in English. So ये जो एक कॉन्सेप्ट है इसको भी खत्म करना है. So communication skill is nothing to talk to in English. Communication skill is something else. You have to
नहीं,
impress
अंग्रेजी
someone.
बोलना तालीम का मेयार नहीं है,
जी
ना तालीम
बिल्कुल.
का बेंचमार्क है. इट इज अबाउट स्किल्स और स्किल्स पे फोकस करना. सो दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विल लिएजॉन विद एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स एंड डिजाइन प्रोग्राम्स फॉर देम. So that
Yes,
and कौन सी लेवल, इज इट K-12 या यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल, पोस्ट
it's a
ग्रेजुएट
university
लेवल?
level. It's a university level from 6 semester to 7th and 8th. We will train the student. हम हर तरह के स्टूडेंट को, जिस तरह एक थ्योरी होती है इन फोर्सेज, फोर्सेज के अंदर एक थ्योरी होती है कि हर बंदे के अंदर कुछ ना कुछ कैपेबिलिटीज होती हैं. सो
True.
उस कैपेबिलिटीज को हमें निकालना है, उसकी एक्टिवनेस को हमने निकालना है, बिकॉज ऑल द सोल्जर्स आर नॉट अ गुड फाइटर्स. सो आर्मी विल डिसाइड कि कौन जो है फाइट
Well
करेगा
said,
फ्रंट पे,
बिल्कुल.
कौन प्लान कराएगा. तो दैट इज द वे वी विल प्लान कि हम अपने स्टूडेंट्स को मोटिवेट करेंगे, हम चेक करेंगे किसमें कितनी स्ट्रेंथ है. सो दोज हु आर केपेबल टू गो फॉर आरपीए, फॉर एआई, फॉर आईओटी, सो हम उसमें से वो फिल्टर करेंगे. वी विल टेक आउट दैट जेम्स एंड पुट देम इन आवर पाकिस्तान मार्केट. सो डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज को हम वो पिच करेंगे. हम ये चाहते हैं कि जब इंडस्ट्री में वो बच्चा निकले तो ही हैज़ एन ऑप्शन, उसके पास एक क्लियर विजन हो. एंड काउंसलिंग शुड बी देयर. स्टिल आज भी यूनिवर्सिटी में जो बच्चा निकलता है, ही डोंट इवन नो हाउ टू राइट द रिज्यूम. सो उसका विजन हमने बढ़ाना है, साथ साथ द टीचर्स, द फैकल्टी. सो इफ यू थिंक इफ
Capacity
फैकल्टी,
building is very important.
या डेफिनेटली उनको कुछ आएगा तो वो अपने स्टूडेंट्स को कुछ परफॉर्म करेंगे. वी नीड
बिल्कुल,
समवन
बिल्कुल.
प्रैक्टिकल टीचर्स फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री जो कि रियल टाइम उनको स्ट्रक्चर फीड करें, और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को ये पता चले कि टेक्नोलॉजी में चीज़ें हो क्या रही हैं. क्योंकि जितना इस वक्त यूट्यूब अवेलेबल है, आई डोंट थिंक सो कि कुछ भी आपको बुक्स की और ज़रूरत है. आपके पास ई मटीरियल्स बहुत ज़्यादा अवेलेबल है. यूट्यूब इज़ देयर. इफ समवन इज़ यूजिंग द इंटरनेट, मैं समझता हूँ कि बहुत बैड लक है
सारी
अगर वो कुछ
इंफॉर्मेशन.
सीख नहीं
बिल्कुल.
रहा. So
Great.
we are with this journey. We are working with different software houses, with different universities, so and different projects also. So being an infrastructure side, we'll give the service in the infrastructure side, IoT side, RPA side. So we have a team. We are going to train the new generation. We give them free internships. So we would support the Pakistan economy. That is the main theme. And जिस तरह का हमारा CxO है, we have so many jams in there. तो उनसे भी communicate करेंगे, और definitely उन लोगों को भी लेकर आएंगे कि वो जो है हमारे उन बच्चों को ट्रेन करें, लेक्चर्स दें और मोटिवेट करें.
This will be nationwide, or you're going to pilot it from Karachi and then spread it to other cities?
Initially from the Karachi, then move towards other cities.
Great. Thank you. This is a service to the community, service to the society, and service to the nation, sir.
Definitely.
My final question: how do you feel that CxO Global Forum has added value to you and your work and your professional life?
Uh, because I'm the more senior member of the CxO. When Kamal was here in Karachi, is one of my good friends. So the vision और जो ये इसका आइडिया था, आउटस्टैंडिंग आइडिया है. मकसद ये कि तमाम प्रोफेशनल्स को किसी एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाना. इट्स एन अमेजिंग जॉब। और डेफिनेटली अगर आप रिलीजियसली मुझसे कहें तो रिलीजियस भी ये कहता है कि वी शुड बी ए सोशल। हम अलग अलग साइलोज में रहकर काम नहीं कर
हम्म,
सकते। तो हम
हम्म,
जिस तरह अभी मिलते हैं, हमारे CxO के अंदर जितने भी माशाल्लाह लोग मौजूद हैं, हम उन सबसे मिलते हैं, वी आर कनेक्टेड, वी हैव अ ग्रुप चैट्स, वी हैव अ मीटिंग्स। सो एक नए प्लेटफॉर्म पे CxO पे आने के बाद ये चीज़ बहुत अच्छी रही कि हम सब मिलकर जो है बहुत ज़्यादा नए आइडियाज़ लाते हैं। और
बिल्कुल।
डिफरेंट जो हमारे लोग हैं CxO के अंदर, काफ़ी जो हैं, जो हमारे सीनियर्स हैं, काफ़ी ऐसे हैं जो हमारे जूनियर्स हैं, वी वर्क टुगेदर, वी वर्क फॉर द कंट्री। एंड कवल इज डूइंग अ ट्मेंडस जॉब। मतलब ये नहीं समझते हैं कि उनको देख के और भी काफ़ी जो हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं वो भी उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं। और इस तरह के वेंचर्स रहने चाहिए। और CxO का डेफिनेटली एक बहुत इम्पैक्ट है हमारी लाइफ पे, हमारे लोगों के साथ। और नाउ वी हैव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग सोशल नेटवर्क एंड वी प्राउड दैट वी हैव सो मेनी प्रोफेशनल विद अस।
थैंक यू अदनान, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर टाइम।
थैंक यू शहजाद।
जज़ाकल्लाह, प्लस आपको बहुत अल्लाह कामयाब करे, मुबारक हो
थैंक यू।
आपको विथ योर न्यू
बहुत
वेंचर। वी आर देयर टू सपोर्ट यू, any kind of assistance, we are always there. The community, the forum is with you. Thank you very much, Adnan. Thank you for your time. It was lovely talking to you.
थैंक यू शहजाद। थैंक यू। थैंक्स अल्लाह। अल्लाह हाफिज़।
Hafiz.